Okay, so I don't know how some of y'all are about to feel about some of this news, because on one side of things, a certain fandom is going to be very happy, very excited, and looking forward to the next few months. But on the other side of things, another fandom is going to be pretty upset, possibly devastated, and ultimately just not feeling really great about the future after what I got to tell you guys. Yeah, the news that I bring today regarding Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, One Piece related stuff, and news for the future, there's a lot to talk about, so I don't want to waste any more of your time. Without further ado, let's jump into another exciting episode of Forever News. Let's do it, shall we? And before we continue, hit that subscribe button and that bell so you get notified on anything and everything in the world of anime and manga related stuff. Okay, people, I come bearing some very interesting news. We're gonna start off with the good news first. We're gonna start off with something that is gonna probably get a lot of people happy and excited, because yeah, that's just the vibe that I'm on right now, that I want to kind of share with you guys. Because I ain't gonna lie, I gotta admit, last week, something that, you know, I guess you could say at the end of the day, it happens for everybody. Yeah, I kind of got it wrong based on the information that was given. And what I mean by that is essentially the news that I had regarding the future of Black Clover might have been inaccurate. Because in case you missed the previous episode of Forever News, which you could check it out right here, I'll put the picture so you guys know what I'm talking about. Word had circulated that Black Clover was going to be essentially ending as is, meaning that the ending that you got from the manga that left a few unanswered questions, one of which has a lot of people just like, oh my gosh, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like that's what we're doing here? That's how it ends? There's like a big question about a particular ship that left most fans really discouraged. I don't want to say disgusted, but really infuriated, you know what I'm saying? And based on what we got, we found out that the volume that's coming out with the, you know, the final volume is going to be a very lengthy final volume with like 250 some odd pages. Like, it's going to have all the chapters. It's going to be a very big volume. However, based on the information, it said that there was not going to be anything new included in that one. So already everybody, including myself, was like, okay, so the Black Clover ending, it's up to the anime if it's going to answer questions, but the manga is quote unquote set in stone. Again, I don't like that term, but that's just what the vibe was, right? That's what the feeling was. However, then there was information that even further pushed the narrative. Based on what we got, it said that the next guidebook that would be coming out in the same month as the final volume of Black Clover was going to have a new manga by the creator of Black Clover, Yuki Tabata. And some people took it as, based off the wording, including myself, that, oh, okay, so this is going to be promoting Tabata's next works. And honestly, I was kind of for it. I was like, yo, if that's what Tabata, whatever Tabata wants, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? If Tabata wants to do something totally different, he just wants to get away from Black Clover, then that's just what it is. You know what I mean? I'm all supportive of the author and all supportive of their ambition, their visions, their goals, whatever they want to do, let's do it. Obviously within reasons, and there's editors and people that oversee stuff for a reason. But for the most part, like, let's give it a try if it's for the benefit of the parties involved. So when I read that, the wording saying again that he's doing a new manga, I was like, okay, he must be putting something new out to try it out while Black Clover's having this massive sensation of the anime coming in order to promote things. And then when it gets time for it, he'll, you know, launch the entire new manga, something like that. That's what I initially thought based off the wording. But it seems as though Yuki Tabata is not going to be, hopefully, letting down the fandom of Black Clover, because apparently some of the information was not completely accurate. It was accurate, but there was a little bit, I guess, the wording, which words are very important. In case you don't know, words have power, people. Like, they're very, very important. Ultimately, let's just read so you guys could understand what's happening here. Don't worry, it's good news for Black Clover fans at the very least. It's real good news. Black Clover confirms special chapter after manga finale. After 11 years of serialization, Yuki Tabata's hit action fantasy manga Black Clover has finally reached its conclusion. The manga ended its final arc in 2022 before transitioning to Shueisha's Jump Giga magazine on a quarterly schedule due to Tabata's health issues. Since then, the schedule has been releasing 2 to 3 chapters each quarter instead of following a weekly schedule. The final arc focuses on the battle against Lucius Zogratis and the chaos that befell the Clover Kingdom. The manga returned with 3 chapters April 30th, 2026 as part of the spring 2026 Jump Giga issue, and followed the aftermath of the brutal battle against against Lucius Zogratis. The finale concluded the rivalry between Asta and Yuno. Additionally, now that peace has been restored to the Clover Kingdom, each character has found their own path in life. Shortly after the manga reached its conclusion, a final volume 38 and an official guidebook were confirmed to be released August 4th, 2026. The release date is only for the Japanese version. English release will take at least a few months. Following the manga finale, a reliable source of information regarding all kind of updates on Shonen Jump series confirmed the official guidebook will include a 15-page chapter. Usually fans expect the final manga volume of a popular series such as Black Clover to include an epilogue, but that's not the case this time. While the manga is already over, the anime has yet to adapt the final 2 arcs. The anime's return announcement a year ago also caused a huge excitement among fans since they were awaiting its return for 4 years. However, while the anime has yet to reveal more information on the series return, there's no doubt it will continue the Spade Kingdom raid. And yeah, word on the streets is that this is 100% going to be Black Clover related. However, I do want to caution people because I know it's great news or whatever. This will be new Black Clover stuff. It doesn't necessarily confirm that this is an epilogue. Now, honestly, for the sake of the fandom, right? For the sake of the shippers, for the sake of all the people that really want those answers, 15 pages, 1 or 2 pages of whatever this is could just give, you know, the answers as far as is this character going to end up with this person, that person? What is their situation going to be like, right? That's all it really takes, whatever this 15-page thing is. But we can say for sure that based on everything, it looks like it's more so less likely that it's going to be this brand new story, and more so again if it's being included in the Black Clover guidebook, and ultimately based on all the word that's been circulating that it's this 15-page new chapter, not just a new manga but a new chapter, more than likely that this is Black Clover related. So therefore that just leaves a question of what is he gonna do with it? Is it going to be something that is the aftermath of the manga after the ending? Is it going to be something? Honestly, I think most people will be extraordinarily disappointed if this has nothing to do with the ending or after the ending. It doesn't have to be an official epilogue. It could be that, because Yuki Tabata has been notorious for allowing the anime studio, when I guess at certain points back in the day when the anime was running, to allow the anime studio liberties to kind of play with certain things, not too much, not take the narrative too much of a stray, so to speak, but he's allowed the anime studio to do those things. So it could be that an epilogue is going to be really more so pushed forth in the anime, but honestly, it would just make sense. Tabata, 15 pages, he can get it done. It could be whether it be a wedding ceremony. It could be as simple as a couple of characters sitting on a bench and just talking about, oh yeah, so we just had our second or third date. It could be any of those things, and we got the time, right? As of the recording of this video, we're early June. We got all the way till August. There's so many things that can be done until then. Honestly, if this is a Black Clover epilogue, it would be for the best of the fandom. If it's not, again, I'm not going to be mad. If it still goes back and reverts back to the whole idea that, nah, this is going to be a new manga thing, which it's more than likely it's not, at the very least not with this right now. If Tabata's going to do a new manga, he will do it, but it's probably not going to be in, which makes sense, because honestly, yo dog, you're going to put a brand new manga in the Black Clover guidebook. I still think it could work as far as promo goes, yo, and the next work from the creator of Black Clover, so it could work regardless of what. Tabata, I'm sure, is going to deliver something. If he doesn't, again, that's on him, and the fans will be left with a sour taste, which it would really suck, because in all honesty, if you go down the list of all of the big manga that have ended over the last, even I want to say 5 or 6 years, going all the way back to Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia. Honestly, outside of My Hero, once it got that extra chapter or whatnot, Black Clover is probably one of the best or most satisfying endings of a manga that we've gotten, of a popular manga in the last 5 to 6 years. Outside of My Hero, that again at first the initial serialization was whoa. Black Clover with its initial serialization has actually been, received pretty well, aside from one major factor. So if it was remedied, I think Black Clover might be regarded as the best ending for a popular series in the last 5 or 6 years. That's literally the only thing. Asta basically became the leader of his place. He's essentially running things his way now. There's just one thing that stops this from being, I don't want to say perfect, but giving everything that the fandom for the most part wants. I know there's still other stuff that the fans want, more about the devils and Lucius Zogratis' connection with his siblings. There's still a bunch of stuff, of course, fans would want, and if Tabata ever decided to continue the story down the road, more power to him or whatnot. But as far as this goes, I think that this right here would cement it as, if not the best, one of the best of all of the stuff that ended, even going to Chainsaw Man, to Jujutsu Kaisen. Most of these endings people say are some of the worst endings of all time. Yuki Tabata right now with this chapter, this 15 pages, has the power to make it that his series has the best ending of all of them. Like, and it's already up there. I would say that it's right there with My Hero. Again, after 431 was released, it's right there. This could be the deciding factor of, like, if it goes all the way, right? Because My Hero, one of the things is that while My Hero had a really awesome ending, it didn't 150% commit and solidify exactly what Deku and Ochako would become, right? This right here, Tabata has the power to make it just the best. Let me know what you guys think though. What are your expectations for this thing? How do you feel this is going to play out? Do you think that there's a major possibility that Black Clover right now could take it and become the best ending of all of the manga that are popular in the last 5 to 6 years? What are your expectations for this 15-page chapter? If it's Black Clover related, do you think it's going to be an epilogue? Do you think it's going to be something totally different? Again, if it's just like a 15-page chapter of, like, I don't know, Yami on the toilet thinking back or something, that would be horrible. Like, can we please get what the fandom wants, the answers? Even if it doesn't give the results that fans necessarily want, which that's the worst case scenario in that thing for a lot of fans, at least answer the question, you know what I'm saying? And I think with this 15 pages, since it more than likely is going to be Black Clover related, now's the time that it could be done. But I guess time will tell, and we will know soon. Will Black Clover deliver or not? And then here's the turning point of this video, where it's gonna go from, like, yo, there's mad hope, this is more than likely going to be great news with Black Clover, to the Chainsaw Man fandom is about to be right now. They're not about to be. I know for a fact that Chainsaw Man fans are ranging emotions anywhere from despair to anger to just wanting to break something, okay? Like, Chainsaw Man fans are not happy right now after what was just, I guess you would say, leaked, so to speak. There's a leak out there that kind of put some information that has people like, oh, screw this, because in case you don't know, the ending of Chainsaw Man the ending of Chainsaw Man was a bit of a mixed bag. For the most part, myself, I'm just gonna speak for this person right here. For the most part, it feels like it delivered. Honestly, I think that it was one of the best case scenarios of what happened with Denji in the end of Chainsaw Man. Basically, it could have been 10 trillion times worse for him. You know, it could have been a really, really bad situation. So all things considered, the ending of Chainsaw Man, I'm not really mad at it. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not really mad at it at all. However, again, and I'm gonna blame My Hero Academia, I'm gonna blame Kohei Horikoshi for this one. I'm sorry, Kohei, I'm sorry, My Hero creator, but I'm putting this one on you, dog. This is your fault for creating these expectations for all of these manga moving forward. What do you mean by this? Because now every time a series ends and there are some questions that are left unanswered, there's some things that want to be more explained by fans, or just in general, fans want more. A lot of people are looking at it like, okay, the final volume is the last ditch effort. That's the last shred of hope for us to get what we want, whether it be pairings, whether it be questions being answered, whatever the case may be. My Hero Academia set that precedence. Ever since that time where, you know, fans were in despair with 430, and then 431 came and for the most part quenched the thirst of My Hero fans, whether it be more manga, whether it be answering certain questions, whatever the case may be, My Hero Academia fandoms caught a major win there. So a lot of fans now, every time a series ends, is looking at it the same way, whether it be with Jujutsu Kaisen. They're like, okay, the final volume, if there's extra pages included, we have hope. And then when things come around, if it doesn't deliver an extra chapter, if it doesn't deliver an epilogue, if it doesn't deliver more content, fans are left angry and really frustrated. Like, henceforth, the Black Clover situation we just talked about, of like, at first we thought that it was just not getting anything extra and that new chapter was going to be something new. Now it's leaning more towards that it's going to be new Black Clover related content, and it could very well be an epilogue that answers a certain question that fans have. So yeah, there's a big thing about now the final volume being a mega thing. So honestly, I'm gonna say this. I think Shonen Jump owes whoever it was, whether it be that was Kohei Horikoshi's idea or his editor's idea of this whole, you know, putting in that epilogue chapter in the final volume, they owe them massive credit, because it gave 10,000 times more interest than already was, because there's of course always going to be interest in the final volume, but now people are even more excited about the final volume because they're like, oh my god, is there going to be more? Is there going to be a new chapter? And at the same time, it also raises some unrealistic expectations for some stories that the author don't want to do no more. Like, it's clear as day, for whatever reason, Tatsuki Fujimoto has pretty much walked away from this particular story and doesn't want to do anymore. It's been pretty clear. I mean, even if you go to the ending of Chainsaw Man, and I'm trying to not be spoilerish about this, I want to be spoiler free as I can, but if you just look at it, for the most part, on one hand, it was kind of artsy. I ain't gonna lie, like, to just keep it simple, it was kind of artsy. I was satisfied with it. I thought it was dope. But then at the same time, if you could look at it from a different perspective and completely get the idea that Fujimoto was just done with this story and just wanted an exit and took it and left. Like, I'm not gonna lie and sit here and act like the only conclusion that I came to was that, yes, this was the idea that Fujimoto had and that's just it. Like, when I read the manga, there was another side of me, just being honest, that felt like, damn, Fujimoto just wanted to be done with this and get away from it. Not in a bad way per se, because again, I wasn't dissatisfied by any regard by the ending of Chainsaw Man. In fact, I remember some of the murmurings was like the Chainsaw Man ending was bad, and for, again, this person personally, I was like, no, it's not. Like, it's fine. But there was a side of me that was also like, yo, Fujimoto was just done with this. He was done with power. He was done with all of it. He just wanted to get it over with. And not necessarily done with power because she hasn't been around for a while, but you get what I mean. It just felt that way. But again, the final volume approached, and I think there was supposed to be like 12 extra pages, and people were like, that's perfect for a bonus chapter, right? It could be 12 it could be 10 pages, and you know what I'm saying? And for the most part, some of the expectations was, again, shipping. It seems like shipping is an extremely big deal that Shonen Jump should actually take more of a closer look at. Like, any higher up that might be watching this video, I think you should really understand how important shipping is, even in battle series. I get it that some of the higher ups, they don't care about shipping. Like, just being honest, they're like, yo, battles is what sells, fights is what sells, and that's a major part of it. But if, let's just say there's 100% of a fandom, right? At the very least, I'm gonna say possibly about a quarter to maybe even a third, like 33%, let's just say, of a fandom really is incredibly invested in the shipping, while the rest is invested in, like, oh, will the character reach their goal of being Hokage, the Wizard King, the, Pirate King, whatever. There is a big portion of the fandom that is really, really invested in shipping. I think also, and I guess I'm gonna just throw this idea out there for, like, future stories, which is not necessarily reinventing the wheel per se, but just a thought there. I think a battle series that equally balances, like, pairings and stuff and shipping, but keeping it still within the realm of what a Shonen Jump manga feels like. If some way, somehow, a manga could be crafted that way without going to rent a girlfriend nonsense. Like, we don't want to do that stuff. But, like, keeping it that type of balance also without going into the ecchi territory of, like, every 5 seconds you gotta see tits and ass. Like, don't get me wrong, don't mind it per se, like, hey, a big voluptuous woman, that's fine. But some type of balance like that would probably be an extremely large success. I think Shonen Jump has just completely missed the mark and misunderstood how important shipping is. Like, with Chainsaw Man, Black Clover, My Hero, the biggest problems that people have had with the endings have not been about goals being met, and obviously most of those have delivered on, well, My Hero, there's an argument to be had there about whether Deku reached the goal that he initially set forth or whatnot. But regardless of what, the big problem people have had with the endings of these stories is the shipping. And if that is a portion of the fandom that is pushing forth even for the volume sales and whatnot, make more of an effort to actually put emphasis on the shipping in stories, because it is important to people. It is very important to people. Like, that's just facts. I know, again, it's battle shonen manga. I get some people are just stuck in their ways of thinking it's all about muscles and punching and projectile blasts. There's so much more to these stories, and there's so much more of a fandom that care about all aspects of the story, including and emphasizing on the shipping, the romantic stuff, the pairings. Like, that's really, really important. I think I'm gonna give credit in one aspect to Hiro Mashima. and that's that with Fairy Tail, dude never shied away from that. Like, yeah, you could argue because he was in the shonen formula for a while that he, you know, kind of teased a lot of it, but some of these characters, they actually end up together, and it's not just in the ending. The story is still even going as of right now or whatnot. Like, some of these characters do end up together, and I think Shonen Jump should take note from that for whatever it is, as far as, again, just strictly put emphasis on the pairings. There's a fandom there. But I've trailed off from the whole emphasis of this, that Chainsaw Man fans are gonna be mad because, well, the Asa situation is, let me read this for you. Despite fans' hopeful wishes, one of Shonen Jump's biggest manga won't ever return. Oh yeah, I guess that's one other thing that people was hoping for, another part to this aspect as well. Like, that was a big deal. 2026 has been an interesting year for 2026 has been an interesting year for Shonen Jump, as the magazine continues to surprise fans with the debut of many new series while canceling just as many, alongside bringing several major titles to an end. It is safe to say that for every new series it has introduced, Shonen Jump has also axed another. One of the biggest manga to attend this year had made it clear that its conclusion was approaching, and the surprises began in March with the end of Jujutsu Kaisen sequel Modulo, while fans expected Black Clover to end next. The conclusion of Chainsaw Man 2 in the same month was what truly shocked the fandom. When the ending of Chainsaw Man Part 2 was announced, it immediately sent the fandom into a spiral, with many refusing to accept the harsh reality for understandable reasons, as the manga appeared to be rushing towards its conclusion without any clear explanation. Fans were justified in thinking so and hoped that a Part 3 would eventually be announced to continue the story. Those hopes grew when it was revealed that the final volume would be released on June 4th and include extra pages. However, those theories have now been debunked, as the series finale volume uses its additional pages only to further solidify the ending rather than continue the story, announce a Part 3, or even hint at one. The extra pages included in Chainsaw Man's final volume have leaked online, which is hardly surprising given how close the release date is, and there is no mention of any continuation. In fact, one of the extra pages doubles down on the series ending by showing Denji leaning against a roadside barrier with a beverage in his hand. The panel subtly parallels an earlier scene in the manga where Denji was depicted in a similar pose. However, at that time he had no money and was living an extremely stressful life. Considering that the series' central theme through Denji was his pursuit of a content life, this panel serves as a fitting conclusion to Chainsaw Man, regardless of what fans may think. It feels like creator Tatsuki Fujimoto's way of saying that Denji's story has come to an end, with his dream of living a life with basic necessities finally fulfilled. Thus, despite fans hoping that Chainsaw Man will return with a new part, the manga has truly reached its conclusion and will not be returning with Denji. Any hopes that the final volume would hint at a Chainsaw Man Part 3 have also been shattered. There's no denying that Chainsaw Man has built a strong enough foundation for the series to continue for at least another 100 chapters, fulfilling fans' hopes of exploring the darker aspects that it repeatedly hinted at. However, the reality is that Chainsaw Man ultimately became a story about his protagonist achieving the content life he always wanted. The twist fulfills that goal with far less trauma and emotional baggage, as most of the events of Part 1 and 2 never occur, and Denji gets to live a content life built on happier foundations. Perhaps that was always what Tatsuki Fujimoto wanted for his character, which is why he introduced the twist and brought Chainsaw Man manga to a definitive end, giving its protagonist a genuine chance at a normal and happy life. And yeah, the pages that are out are, some of them are like just, you know, credits. There's 4 pages of drawings of Pochita. There's 2 character analysis pages, and then there's one of, yeah, Denji just like sitting, I don't know if he's at like a building or roadside or whatever, just chilling with like, there's like a beverage next to him. Yeah, essentially Chainsaw Man is done. No Part 3, no ships of Denji with whoever. Is it disappointing? Sure. At the same time, if that was Tatsuki Fujimoto's goal anyway, like, yo, just can Denji just have a normal life? Like, screw all of the crazy, all of the chaos and insanity in homie's brain. Can homie just live? Can he just be happy? Can he just, you know what I'm saying, live a good life? And that's what he achieved. Yeah, maybe some of the pairings didn't happen that people wanted. Yeah, there's some aspects of like people just want in general the crazy ride for another part, but if that's what Tatsuki Fujimoto did, then that's what he did, and we gotta accept it. And even if you're disappointed, it is what it is. That's the ending. Denji gets to live a normal life. But let me know what you guys think about this. How do you feel about the ending of Chainsaw Man? Chainsaw Man! How do you feel about the ending of Chainsaw Man and the final pages being essentially like, yo, Denji's just chilling, living his life? And for the people that maybe wanted, like, I don't know, Asa and Denji to have like 4 kids together. Like, huh? Save that for like another story or something, you know? Moving forward, I found this article to be absolutely fascinating. Wanted to talk about it, gonna talk about it because this is from a One Piece director. One Piece Film Red director Goro Taniguchi drops honest truth about modern anime. Anime is being made like junk food. In a recent lecture, the director of One Piece Film Red and Code Geass called out the industry's biggest problem: lack of strong director oversight. He argues that many anime today are being made like junk food, with studios relying on flashy visuals and heavy post-processing instead of a strong, unified, creative vision. And honestly, for the most part, outside of, you know, there's the outliers to the situation. There are some series that, like, yo, they're pieces of art and they look gorgeous at the same time. But considering the amount of anime that are coming out and how many people usually are disappointed with a good chunk of them or whatnot, I wouldn't go against that. I think for the most part, what he's trying to say is that having a strong director at the helm of this thing that is essentially guiding people and not worrying so much about the aesthetics, because anime has gotten to a point in some sections, not all, again, there's the outliers and there's people that actually, I don't want to say have a brain, but we'll go with that. There are some fandoms that don't care about this, but a good chunk of it, which is what has propelled the industry to where it is right now with certain series, when I'm not going to call them out, but it honestly feels like vanity is everything when it comes to some of these series. Like, in all honesty, it feels like if it doesn't have the Mappa Studios ufotable art and animation, a good chunk of people just aren't interested. A good majority of people are just looking at it like, who cares? We don't, what? Yeah, bro, we off that right now. Like, people are getting very much so into this mindset of vanity, and these conglomerates are looking at like, okay, so if we just make it look pretty, we don't got to worry about the essence of it, the story, you know, what this whole thing is about. And I think that is a strong misconception, and for a lot of these industries, that's a strong way to waste a ton of time and a ton of money, because it could look the most beautiful thing ever. It could have the greatest art, the greatest animation, but if there's nothing behind it, if there's no story behind it, if there's no substance behind it, if it doesn't give me a feeling, then what are we doing here, folks? Why are we wasting time? Like, I've seen anime legitimately that was like, yo, that shit look great, but it didn't move me in any sense, because I was just kind of like, yo, that's great, but the story is ass, or the story sucks, or I just don't care about the story. And honestly, I think fans have forgotten, new generation fans don't even realize or recognize that story is supposed to come first. There's a reason why certain anime from even back in the days have lasted the test of time, despite the fact that the art and animation are considered like they're not the greatest or whatever you want to call it, and yet till this day people still rewatch them and love them or whatnot. It's because of the story. It's the reason why, like, again, I don't want to call out anime or whatnot, but the original Berserk anime, prime example, people have hated on the animation to a certain degree, the art style, all of that stuff, and yet to this very day it is still considered a classic, and people could still rewatch it if they choose to or whatnot. I know it's a little graphic for some people, I get it, and that's because the story, for better or worse, the story is what moves people, and people have forgotten that. Anime fans have forgotten that even if it doesn't have the crazy visuals, the story is what should be pushed to the forefront. So what this director is probably trying to say is that they're, you know, pushing out just like, make it look pretty and just throw it out there, and they're forgetting that, yo, find a great story. And all honesty, if you could balance both, great. If you have the budget to balance both, fantastic. Make it look all flashy or whatnot, and combine that with one of the greatest stories you can find. But if you can't, and you have to choose one, choose a great story. The idea of vanity is everything is something that is like, it's out there for sure, but I don't think that should be the leading factor in this industry. I don't think that vanity should be what people only care about. Like, oh, does it look good? That's a recipe for failure. That's a recipe to make a lot of these companies go under. Like, yo, give me that substance, give me that story. Does it make me cry? If it makes me cry, and I'm talking about it in a good way, not like, oh, you broke my heart. I'm talking about like, yo, tears of joy, tears of just feeling something, that's something to invest in. So shout outs to this director. I feel like he was cooking and giving a perspective that most don't really look at. Most people just, like, they go on a surface level of like, oh, you know, they're making too much anime and they're not really putting thought into it. This guy is saying that they're making too much anime and they're focusing on the wrong aspects. They're focusing on like the art and the animation and cranking out as much of that as they can, and they're not focusing on the essence of like what makes anime great to begin with. Okay, people, and lastly, we have some updates that are incoming that I'm very excited to share with you guys. On June 19th from Mappa Studios, we're getting updates, new info for Attack on Titan. What am I expecting? I'm gonna keep it brief. maybe a re-release of the film. I think, wait, did they already? I feel like the movie either is about to re-release or just re-release in theater, something along the lines of that. And possibly maybe like some OVA stuff, even though OVAs aren't really a big thing anymore unless they put them in theaters. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if not now, in the very near future, they do a Before the Fall anime. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. And that's possible there. I'm not going to say that that's what's happened. Mostly this is like, you know, some strong opinion based stuff that I believe a Before the Fall anime for June 19th would be the biggest news for Attack on Titan. Like, yo, we get it. The ending arc was amazing. We get it that it had so much stuff. Enough already with that. Like, let's be honest, bro. We get it. Attack on Titan ended. Do something else, either a story set after the fact. There's plenty of spin-offs to do, except the high school one. They did that. We don't. Yeah, a Before the Fall anime for June 19th would rock the world and would really get people excited to talk about. Then July 3rd, new movie info is expected for a Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Maybe a teaser trailer. Maybe a release date or somewhat of an open release date for the next film of Demon Slayer. Obviously, there's 2 films left to adapt the entirety of Demon Slayer before the anime industry got to figure it out again. Which, yo, you know how much money was missed out on the manga side of things for this? Yo, this is a conversation that ain't talked about enough. They really sacrificed the source material revenue for the anime side of revenue. Like, you know how much money Koyoharo Gotoge has missed out on because they ended their series early, which some people say was the author's choice or whatnot. But imagine if it wasn't. Hypothetically speaking, Koyoharo Gotoge wanted to keep going, and the higher-ups said, nah, we ending this now. We betting it all on the anime. You know how many millions of volumes more would have been sold? Like, think about it. This series is still red hot and has been extremely hot for years and years without brand new volumes coming out, which is money that Koyoharo Gotoge missed out on. Remember reporting very vividly years ago that the author of Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer, Koyoharo Gotoge, had only received like 20 bans for the first film that made like a $500 million. A disgrace. That's a disgrace. You know what I'm saying? In reality, Demon Slayer would probably be already at like 300 mil if it was releasing even more volumes of the manga. So yeah, that's just a side rant. Again, probably a new trailer for the movie or the next movie or whatnot. Cool beans. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Then June 19th, Mappa Studio will be giving season 4 info for Jujutsu Kaisen, which was originally supposed to be season 3 part 2. For whatever reason, they decided no, it's season 4. Jujutsu Kaisen's on fire. I was surprised when they did that little special thingy for Modulo's volume where they animated it and it looked straight up like a new anime coming, even though that won't get animated for like a quadrillion years from now. Yeah, it's probably just gonna be a trailer, maybe, or a teaser, because I think they had a lot of this already done and ready to go, but then because of the time it would take, they were like, you know what, it's season 4 now. Black Clover July 4th. This is a very big deal because they're going to be premiering at Anime Expo for like, I don't know if it's a few hundred, a few thousand people that are going to be in attendance to this thing. The first episode of Black Clover's Return is going to be premiered there with the official release date for Black Clover's anime. This is going to be major. This is going to be big. So the 4th of July is going to be pretty big for Black Clover fans. I'm just saying, like, even if you're not in there, we all going to feel it in some way or another. We're all going to experience something there on July 4th. And I mean that in a good way. We're going to be experiencing something very good on July 4th. Even if it's just the feeling of like, yo, the Black Clover Return is real. It's happening. And then Mappa, June 19th, Chainsaw Man Season 2 new info is expected. Maybe just a teaser or a full-on trailer, one or the other. Yeah, it's about time. Like, they need to wrap up already the remainder of the manga from part 1 before we even get to part 2 stuff. Like, the manga has already ended, and we still got a long way to go for the anime to be adapted, assuming they take as long in between seasons. Because, like, you know, we had the movie or whatever. I don't really even want to get into that one, but, you know, whatever. And yeah, it's been far too long for the next season. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Let's finish part 1 of the story so they can actually adapt part 2. I might enjoy part 2 of Chainsaw Man more, to be honest with you, in an anime form. Maybe the anime might be the golden ticket to enjoying Chainsaw Man part 2, but only time will tell on that. Regardless of what, it looks like the summer is going to have a lot of really big announcements for anime. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this episode of Fornever News. What did you think? Your favorite story? All of that good stuff. That's all I have for this one. I'm Tim. As always, people, have an awesome day. Remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. I think I did that wrong, but whatever. Have an awesome day. Peace and yeah, subscribe, hit the bell, check my channel here and there, because YouTube be on some other stuff about notifying y'all on my stuff. Like, yo, I upload every so often, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do better. Trying to do better. I'm out. Peace, peace, peace.
Where the brave people at? Point them to me now. Everybody has a fear, but still they move around. Maybe I should start a movement. No cowards allowed. Only join if you don't give a fuck. Come on, who's down? If it's gonna happen, really not much you can do. So why the live in fear or make a move? Come on, choose.